So then we are back with more understandings from the time of the Second Tabernacle services, where we find in the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Israelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end as per the Yeshayahu, the 61st chapter. You find then precisely what the prophet was speaking of, related with the time of the end, restoration. And obviously then when the Messiah was completing the spring feast, he spoke of a reduction. So per the order of events, the Messiah was obviously always making mentioning of his older brother. Obviously, because he was the first son holding the birthright from Ibrahim. So from the order of events, let's try to establish what's coming in the future then. Per the scripture, because it's time of restoration. These means whatsoever should be known was already known. In terms of the details of the areas of this era of restoration, the details, for instance, knowledge should increase. There are many ramifications where you can find where those knowledges would be used at. But then we understand whatsoever we have at the moment as restoration was already known before. So it's no surprise hearing it. So then per the order of events, let's read it then from the Holy Quran, unquestionable Quran. Shura, 2nd chapter, Al-Bahara. Then there is a very important understanding. This is then the scripture. It is guidance, without doubt, for those who fear Allah, obviously. For those who believe what they can't observe, who are steadfast in prayer, who spend out what we have given them. Then starts the understanding from it. Steadfast in prayer. What would make then steadfast in prayer? Those people were people of trade, were they not? The time of Ibrahim and the first son, Ishmael. The mother of Ishmael came from Egypt. She was an Egyptian, related with work. She was a servant, a maidservant. Servants were given to Ibrahim, and also camels, and the required provisions for his journey. So she was a servant. Ishmael then was brought up as servant, but a special kind of servant. A worker of then the Creator, obviously, because he was establishing then from the time of Ibrahim what it should be, truly a son of the patriarch. What can we conclude when we read then the Holy Quran regarding Ibrahim? Time of restoration, restoring what the Creator had started. Not because the Creator is screwed up, it's because the people is screwed up. So then, let's understand what he's talking about. For this is then the scripture. It is guidance, without a doubt, for those who fear Allah, for those who believe or what they can't observe, who are steadfast in prayer, who spent out what we have given them. What do you understand of this section? Those are then, in quote, the sacrifices given from their provisions as tradespeople. Okay? Because what they had in mind was work, and then they would earn, and they would sacrifice some of their provisions, earnings, on behalf of giving the example of what a true son of Ibrahim should be doing. This is what you read in order of events. So then, prayer. Prayer is acknowledging what the Creator has given them. They are enjoying themselves, as then the extra earnings, and whatsoever they earn, they give a section of it, sacrifice, and they have a relationship with the Creator from what they are giving Him. And those are in form of guidance, guiding other people, because they are the sons of Ibrahim. So it's very simple, but a person must be enlightened. Now, the situation is, with this extra, or then what they have set aside from their provisions for the specific purpose of giving to the Creator, in a form of teaching other people what truly means of being the son of Ibrahim, or sons of Ibrahim, related with the world's trade and market. But the understanding then, as far as the way they spent this time thinking the Creator, is much profound. In order to make it simple for those reading from other languages other than Arabic, then we have to make it simple, otherwise we get lost. So let's understand from, they are tradespeople, they have huge caravans, then they have those items sold out, they have the provisions, and they take a part of those provisions and they spend time with it given to the Creator. And then they teach other people how truly being then the sons of Ibrahim. So then, continue on with understanding. Then later came the younger son, from the lineage of the tabernacling. As we understand, time of restoration, not only tabernacling, but also the first son, and what he did. While then Ibrahim and his wife Hagar, an Egyptian servant, were then stationary. So the Creator then through Ishmael was able to establish what He had must in mind, and then it was done. So then during this time of restoration and reduction, then from the level of our country, what is then expected from the leaders of our country? There is an objective and only one object only: establishing a computerized system of tax gathering instantly every time any citizen of our country would have earnings. Taxes must be then gathered instantly. There is no option, because the government is already set for the Ozarks. They think that it's going to be civil war in the future, and they're going in a hole like ostriches, and they're going to be safe over there in those holes, and they have then 12 gates. Somewhere they had read some sort of a scripture, they had 12 gates somewhere. I have no idea where they would be. But certainly was some sort of a scripture of their own making. I have no idea. So then, we expect then our government to go underground. This is what American people are expecting, liking it or not. So then when the system of the Chinese comes in shortly, roughly 36 months, as per IMF predictions, and other understandings of Scripture, most importantly, do you think then the government is going to go underground? Let's quite be honest with it. Understanding a simultaneous system with the international system, while people then they are involved with it, they log on and they have the resources of this country and they transfer those resources into the Chinese system. Do you think the government is going underground? Is there a time for them to go underground? As they were expecting, do you think we are going to turn on each other while they are safe and sound underground like ostriches? But this is what the government is so far. They are a group of ostriches manipulating the system, but their future is on a hold. They don't want to say plainly, they don't want to say openly and directly, but this is what they have in mind. They are working in this cave system for years. And the plan of the government, so far, going in a hole. And they expected the citizens to be like ostriches like they are. What about this 2012 last year junk? Ah, the world is going to end. And a lot of people went to caves, only to find out the next day, as was predicted before. Come out of the cave and find a job, because it's not part of the Creator's calendar. But then our government wants, going in a hole in the future. 36 months, monetary system crashes, not ready for the Chinese system. Understanding the Chinese already had their hands then in our mortgage system, not because it's a great deal, it's a piece of junk of a deal. But then they got the system. And we thinking we are so smart, oh, it was a great deal. They got, a hold of those junky mortgages, but they don't want the mortgages, they want the system. You stupid. So what can we expect in order for our country not going to the hole like ostriches? The whole group, president, vice president, the whole house, they're not going to longer be in a White House, they're going to be in the Ozarks. And they already know it. Cave systems, farming, crude, they have their own grid system, their own electricity, no blackouts. Yeah, covered. They want to go into the hole. What about us on top, on the surface? The word starts with F and ends with ED. But let me ask you this, are they going to have time to go underground? What are they going to be managing underground when the monetary system then is failed? What are they going to control from underground system abroad, international, from nation to nation, without having a simultaneous system to get taxes from? What are they going to do underground? Are people going to do farming for them? No. If they find them roaming around, they're going to be slaughtered. Because those scoundrels have stolen our money, cashed our future for their own benefit. They would be slaughtered. So they're best to stay underground. How are we going to maintain our imports and exports without a proper monetary system? Read the IMF reports. We can't be naive enough of being a high and mighty nation from years back and then neglecting very important reports of IMF. So then truly the president of our country is Mr. Bernanke. He is surely the president, but he is in charge of the monetary system. He makes the decisions. While the president taking his time and playing some golf, have some fun and so on and so forth. Understandable. People have to have a mini vacations at times. I haven't mind in a long time. Working roughly 12 hours a day, had no vacation in a long time. It is a lot of work. How can people depend upon the leaders if they are leading them into hole like ostriches? This is what the government is doing. They are not saying it, but they have their ending covered. And they understand, then they go underground, and the rest of the people on top starts with F, ends with ED. What are they going to manage from down there? Monetary system is broken. So then let's try being smart. We understand China is the leader of the world's market production bulk. Worldwide, from nation to nation. It's a system that's going through every nation. That's why when you read Gala, and then every nation of the earth doing trade with China. Why China? Because the most prominent country of the third part of the ships of the planet. You have to be real stupid if you don't understand the similitude. So there you are. Then overnight, people are going to download their computers, spacious hard drive. They're going to be online, earning from abroad, investing abroad, so on and so forth, coming from abroad, direct into your banking. The government can't do anything because they can't invade your privacy. So you understand how stupid our government is. But then they are going underground. Oh, read the conspiracy theory with Mr. Ventura. He used to be governor over there in the Midwest. And no BS. If you watch it, be prepared. It's a straightforward truth in your face. No BS. He was a Navy SEAL. Conspiracy theory with Governor Ventura, subtitled in the Ozarks. Have his whole team over there. Himself, his son, other ladies over there working for him, and so on and so forth. Very informative. So then, from the Chinese perspective, we understand the Chinese, they have an ace card. And we don't have a clue. Most of our governments are oblivious because they are gorging themselves near the printing money machine. As long as they are there and they have this nice odor of paint coming out of the printing machine, printing out more money, then they are oblivious. But then when you remove yourself from the printing machine, you understand. The Chinese already made a deal with Citigroup. They already have the hands and mortgages. IMF predicted a couple of years ago, 5 years the most, our monetary system would hold. A couple of them is already gone. We got 36 months to get our arrears in place and come up with a system. Because the rich scoundrels in the government, they made a deal going to the Ozarks. So what are they going to be managing from underground or from that facility over there in Mountain View or somewhere around the area over there? Where there is then a bank for every 50 plus people, from 50 to 55 people, a bank for 55 people roughly. Where in LA you have a bank for 11,000 people, and you have in New York a bank for every 7,000 people. But there in the Ozarks they have a bank for every around 55 people. Okay, the government is not interested in anybody else. They want to go in a hole. And they are so stupid, they don't understand. When the Chinese system comes, people are going to download the system in their computers. Nice and easy. They understand whatsoever earnings they make has to be confidential. The government can't be nosing around. And then start earnings coming in from abroad. So then we the citizens, should we let the government go into the hole? No, they are stupid. That's what scoundrelized scripture can do to you. You have the wrong copy of the scripture, you ended up in a hole. So then, what would be the proper course of action? What is the proper objective? Well, our nation is in the hand of Mr. Bernanke. He's in charge of the monetary system. He has to come up with a system of his own, giving him a very nice database, lots of computers, lots of high capacity computers. So then each transaction of every person in the country, every time there is earning, the government then makes its share. Taxes are then gathered instantly when then the switch enter is entered in the computer. When these jobs start, then there is no reason to go into the hole in the Ozarks. Because the next step is then revitalizing our industry. Meaning then more power plants, more industry. Because there is always flowing of cash, flowing of numbers, flowing of revenue. Then the printing machine doesn't have to be used so often. Well, let's go out and celebrate and let's play some golfing. Tea time at 5 o'clock sharp, daily, in the government. So then, when this system from Mr. Bernanke gets done, then people are going to have more jobs. Because the only security of being with the system international is by providing jobs. Because you can't trade in the system abroad, international, without showing exportation. Forces the government of revitalizing the industry. This means more coal power plants. Environmentalists, get out of the way. Double filtering at the end of the smokestack should be enough. No smart grid of any kind, it's not required. Regular cabling, regular, 50 years old, new stock. Electric meters. You know those mechanic meters? Very reliable, can last for 100 years. and get our industry competitive. Otherwise, we're going to the hole. And the government already made plans to go into the hole. The problem is, those staying on the surface starts with F, ends with ED. FEMA camps, police state. So then let's verify what's in the agenda of Mr. Bernanke, and then let's verify what goes on with Mr. Chu. That's another character of a person. It would be very interesting having a talk with him. The nation has a problem with electricity and he's wallowing around. Have this in mind, he has Chinese descendancy. So you can link up with the new system coming in and he kind of drags around, you know. Don't let US go very far because they have an ace card and they don't want US to be on the way. And smart grid and computers and blah blah blah, it doesn't have to be that way. And these understandings are only from the state's person, Daniel. If you are smart enough to understand the scripture, we are only speaking of the level of a short verses of the prophet Daniel. And we are not even speaking of tabernacling. Yeah, but the government viewpoint of tabernacling is over there in the Ozarks, in the hole like ostriches. So please stay tuned. Let's verify what people should be then expecting, but then first, it is then expecting Mr. Bernanke to come up with a computerized system. That's the first order of the agenda. It's the first objective. The second is the power grid. Revitalizing our industry so you can compete when the system comes. No exportation, no production, no number. Because the nation is going to be, in quote, tied up with this system. There is no way around it because the government does not have a system implemented to control the banking. When the customer gets a banking, the government can't. Negative. Knows around on what they are doing in the computer. Can they? No, it's private. Privacy is the utmost. But when they are online, then in the international system, they can't take taxes from. Because it would be invasion of privacy, since they don't have any kind of a system. But then they want to go in a hole. They want to go to the Ozarks.